Log I. The dust remembers Dr. Rafiq Malik's field journal, entry 001. It wasn't just an excavation, it was a resurrection. Dr. R. Malik, field journal entry number 47, site A17. It began in the basin of Sankesh. A desert no cartographer had mapped fully. For decades, wind had buried the ruins beneath layers of dust and bone. But when Dr. Rafiq Malik followed an unnatural magnetic signal deeper into a fissure, he fell, literally, into history. The cavern was impossibly vast, endless. Walls of melted glass and fossilized steel, pillars that hummed when touched. Runes, carved into the very stone, in a script no known culture could claim. It looked like language and code had a child and raised it inside a cathedral, Malik later told his team. And then there were the scrolls, charred, brittle, yet somehow intact. They were tucked away inside a chamber shaped like a flame frozen mid-burst. Inside were over 200 fragments of what would be dubbed the Ark Codices, a series of writings interspersed with diagrams, artifact impressions, and what could only be described as warnings. Some scrolls described gods, some described machines. Some told stories of beings who walked like men but shimmered like fire. Others spoke of a great departure and a deliberate forgetting. Linguists, engineers, and religious scholars gathered to decipher the text. The translation effort became a global phenomenon, yet nothing was ever fully agreed upon. "This language thinks in loops," said one translator. "It writes in metaphor and mathematics. The scrolls you, reader, now know, scrolls I threw, IV, are the product of that approximation. Each was reconstructed through hundreds of hours of analysis and speculative interpretation. Some elements are still hotly debated. Others remain fully untranslated. But the technology found alongside the scrolls told its own truth. Fused carbon mechanisms shaped like wings, solar veins etched into metal, holographic crystals, now inert, melted into sediment. Objects resembling DNA helixes carved into glass as if for instruction. Most chilling of all, a partially collapsed vault, marked only by one still glowing word. Oblivion. Log 2. The pulse beneath Dr. Rafiq Malik's field journal. Entry 002 recovered. Translation and commentary. Today, we ventured deeper. The initial shaft that housed the scrolls widened into a corridor lined with carvings, each weathered but unmistakably deliberate. None of the patterns matched any known civilization. Hieroglyphs? No. Cuneiform? Not quite. Our linguist, Dr. Shinozaki, remarked they felt deliberately hybrid. A blend of scripts, like someone was trying to be understood by everyone, or no one. We found what appears to be a control panel, for lack of a better word, embedded in a collapsed stone monolith. Smooth surfaces that shouldn't exist in an era that predated metallurgy. There's no circuitry as we know it, but magnetic residue traces and a faint hum that makes the instruments misbehave. We're calling it the pulse. From the translated fragments, scroll reference entry NR 19. We sealed the chamber with light from the stars and silence from the old tongues. Let them forget. Let the blood of our mistakes dry in shadow. These weren't just records. They were hiding something, or perhaps themselves. Further notes. Dr. Herrera thinks the cavern was meant to be found, eventually. The scrolls, though fragile, were preserved in a resinous coating like amber. Artificial, but organic. It's as though the authors wanted future people to understand, but only after enough time had passed that they could no longer repeat the cycle. We've sent the first batch of scans to the Institute. No response yet. I can't shake the feeling. We've touched something sleeping. Or worse, something that's still awake. Log 3. The Divided Deep Doctor. Rafiq Malik's Field Journal. Entry 003 Exploration Summary. Today marked our third full descent. The cavern continues to defy logic, not just in depth, but in how it's structured. We've identified at least 3 distinct sectors branching from the primary shaft, each seemingly designed for different purposes. The walls are smooth in some places, jagged in others, as if some areas were carved with precision tools, while others were violently ruptured. We have not yet found an endpoint. Sector. The lab, we are calling it a lab, though that may not be entirely accurate. There are long stone tables with strange inlays, slots, channels, and what looks like mineralized wiring. Several broken devices, covered in layers of dust and fossilized decay, are embedded in the surrounding walls. Some are still intact, suspended inside crystal-like casings. Dr. Shinozaki believes the air composition here is slightly different. Less decay, more preservation. The team collected samples of a black resin coating many surfaces. It might have once been biological or nanomechanical in nature. The strangest part, there are handprints scorched into the walls. Dozens. All different sizes. All reaching outward, not inward. Sector B, the resting hall. This chamber nearly made us turn back. Lined in neat concentric circles are tall, obsidian-colored containers, about 2 meters in height, each bearing strange etchings. They resemble sarcophagi, but sleeker, purposeful. Several are cracked open, empty. Some are warm to the touch. We dared not open any ourselves. Not yet. One container, however, has a small circular opening at its base. We lowered a light inside. For a brief moment, something moved. It could have been the light refracting, or not. Carved above the doorway into this hall was the same inscription found on one of the scroll fragments. "Let not the blood of the stars rise again." We don't know if this was a crypt, a prison, or a nursery. Field conclusion. Whatever this place was, it's vast, layered, and deliberate. A city, a sanctuary, a vault. We've set up motion-triggered cameras and increased our crew rotation. I've asked HQ for additional linguists, anthropologists, and, quietly, a hazard protocol team. Something is here. Maybe many somethings, and we still haven't reached the bottom. Log 4. The Edge of Silence Doctor. Rafik Malik's Field Journal. Entry 004 Final Descent and Correspondence. After weeks of research, mapping, and countless hours of scanning, we've finally reached what can only be described as the end. The cavern narrows into a large chamber, but not one with walls. Instead, it's a massive chasm, like a natural hollow carved beneath the earth itself, a pocket in the planet's very structure. In the center of this chasm rests a structure, one that doesn't belong. It looks alien, in a sense, but not from the skies. It's made of a substance we've never encountered, a black reflective material that seems to shimmer with internal light. The surface is smooth, though there are signs of long-term exposure to extreme conditions. Some areas are chipped away, revealing intricate patterns beneath. The object stands tall, almost as tall as the chasm itself. It could be a temple, a vault, or perhaps something far more dangerous. We have not yet breached it. There are no doors, no visible means of entry, just the smooth, impenetrable surface. But we found something else that fills me with dread. Embedded in the walls, along the upper rim of the chasm, are remnants of what seem to be the same, coffin-like containers we saw earlier. They are embedded into the rock, as if they've been placed there deliberately. No movement yet, but the energy in the air is palpable. Correspondence from the consortium. We finally received a response from the university consortium, though not the one I hoped for. Their tone was cautious, perhaps even dismissive of our discoveries. It seems we've gone beyond our remit. We were hired to study climate patterns, to examine the geologic composition of this region. The cavern, while fascinating, was not part of the initial proposal. But the most surprising part? They want to keep the details of this discovery under wraps. They've offered no additional funding and have, in fact, recommended that we limit our communications. They mentioned that others have taken an interest in our findings. Excerpt from consortium correspondence. We acknowledge the significance of your findings, but remind you that the original purpose of this expedition was to focus on climate data. As your findings are not directly related to our research, we urge you to continue following your project guidelines. At first, I thought this was a delay tactic, but something about it felt wrong. Someone has been watching. I'm certain of it. Government intervention. We received a second message just hours ago. This one was different. Direct, firm, and unsettling. Excerpt from government communication. We are aware of your recent findings. A team will be dispatched to assist you immediately. No further field reports are to be sent without clearance from the Department of Geological Affairs. It seems they already know, or at least suspect. As soon as the government gets involved, things are going to change. We've been told to stand down until further notice, but I won't let it go. This discovery is too important to be buried. Team. Reaction. It was a quiet night when the government response came in. I saw Dr. Shinozaki's face as the words registered, his calm demeanor cracking for just a moment. The others are nervous, though no one says it out loud. There's an unspoken understanding that if we let this go, we may never get another chance to explore what's here. But who can we trust? The consortium? The government? At this moment, all I can think of is that artifact. That thing at the bottom of the chasm. It's been waiting, untouched, for who knows how long. The real question now is, what happens when we open it?